Hey, Mike Bradley here, hope you're doing well as always. Chat time again today for me. Last few days I've been gigging, pretty much last 3 days solid. Thursday night I had a gig, Friday and Saturday, and today is Sunday. And it's not raining in my country. There's been storms are brewing. But I thought as I was kind of loading my gear in for my car, and around me is a vast selection of guitars and bags and amps. You know what, I'll show you. I'm coming to the camera, I'm coming! Yeah, so I've just, apart from this tripod, which I won't move, but guitar, Hercules guitar stand, the pedalboard case, T-Rex pedalboard case, which is really cool, but what is actually falling apart, mic stand, guitar, a Marshall head, my little cute Supersonic 22 and its little coat, its little oval Mac. But yeah, that's the gear. That's been my weekend's work at the office. Let's nest you back on the old stands. And I'm back. And yeah, basically when I was loading this in, and obviously this is kind of talking to hopefully all of you who are, you know, gigging musicians who play with your band, your friends, whatever, and the importance of protecting one's ears. Now, I don't want to sound like a teacher or like a parent saying you must eat your greens, but I thought I'll just talk to you about, you know, from someone who is a working musician, you know, and have been a working musician since I was 17 years old, so hopefully it might kind of help you and point you in the right direction in protecting your ears. They're the main things, basically the two important things a guitar player, or any musician for that matter, has are your hands and your ears. Your ears are so important, be able to work out songs if you're doing functions or sessions, or, you know, be able to interact with other musicians regarding, you know, if you start improvisation, doing improvisational stuff, and you can hear where one's going. If you've got crappy ears, you ain't gonna be able to do nothing. So yeah, with protecting your ears, what I'm talking about here is the dreaded tinnitus, or some people call it tinnitus, whatever, I call it tinnitus. And unfortunately for myself, I do have a little bit of tinnitus, and I've had it for about 4 years now. And unfortunately, being a musician is just one of those things, especially being a guitar player, because guitar players like playing loud. I like to play loud, and it's not an egotistical thing. It's, I like a good tone. I'm a tone geek, you know, and if you want a good tone, you've got to crank the amp up a bit, you know, so you get that big headroom, solid, warm sound, you know. If you've got a valve amp, I'm talking about here, if you have the volume really low, it's going to be really compressed and distorted. If you've got like the volume on 1 or 0.5 or something, obviously depending on the wattage of your amp. But if you've got it really low, it'll be distorted and you've got that rock sound. But it sounds shit. Let's be honest, alright? And then you'll notice as you turn up the volume, it will be less compressed and you'll start having more headroom, which is the kind of term we want here, headroom, where the guitar can breathe, the guitar sound can breathe more, and you get that natural warm guitar tone. And to get that, you've got to turn the amp up. There's no two ways about it. Now, if I look back at myself, when I was, you know, like I said, I've been gigging and working with musicians since I was 17 years old, and now I'm in my late 20s, you know, so it's over 10 years of doing it. And, you know, I remember me and my bandmates or people we were working with, you know, we all had long hair and stuff like that, and we used to kind of poo-poo earplugs. No, only wimps had earplugs, you know, my hair pads out my ear, you know. It's what you say when you're a juvenile 17-year-old tit, you know. And, you know, I used to play vast volumes, and the Marshall head you just saw, that was my main amp for many years. And I remember doing a gig like in the Dog and Duck pub, and or in Red Hill. And I remember doing it, and I think I had the volume on like 7, and that's a 100-watt amp. I had the volume on 7, I still can't hear it, because the drummer was like a powerhouse drummer. He was so loud, and you know, I remember afterwards, like my ears would just be ringing and ringing and ringing, and then after a day or two, they'd fade away. You know, the ringing would stop. And then fast forward a couple of years later, I remember rehearsing with a band, and we rehearsed in this rehearsal studio near Bluewater, and it was really small. And I remember like the singer would be there, I would be here and the bass player would be completely opposite me, and I'd have a 4x12 or a Cornford head MK50 going through it, and it was so small, like the sound was just bouncing back and forth through the walls, and yeah, it was very loud, extremely loud. And again, once again, my ears would be ringing, and it would go. The ringing would stop, you know. Now, knowing what I know now, this was a sign that my ears are about to be screwed up, you know. And then obviously doing sessions, gigs, studio stuff as well, when you've got the headphones on, and a lot of times they put it quite loud. I don't like using headphones really in the studio. I like being in the tracking, in the control room, and my amp in the live room, and then that way I can play that way and I can hear it all. But sometimes you can't, you've got to use the headphones. So obviously that kind of punishes the ears a bit as well. And I've got a thing with dates, and I remember this very well. It was October 2010, and I met up with my band Biff Tech. It was a Sunday, and I met up with my band Biff Tech, and we hadn't reformed anything at that point. We just said, oh, do you want to meet up for a jam? And we had a friend who played bass, and he came along with us. And I've got a picture. I'll hunt out the picture. Hopefully I'll put the picture up now with my sex face guitar bending going on. And as you'll see, hopefully in the picture if I can find it, I'm right by a PA speaker, quite a big one. I remember getting there and there was all space taken up, and I just decided to nestle there, you know. And it was a bit of a silly thing to do. And I remember playing and my ears were ringing. I remember they were ringing a lot. And usually I don't notice it at first. It's usually afterwards you hear your ears ringing, but I could feel my ears were ringing a lot. And I started feeling, the only way you can describe it is like car sick. And like everything was kind of, like if you ever passed out before, that kind of, whoa, you know, that kind of feeling, everything's kind of going inside out a bit. And I remember just taking a break, and we went outside for a bit of fresh air and whatnot, and I was saying, God, we're loud, you know, and my ears are just constantly like uncontrollable ringing. It's like a bus going through my head. And we started playing again, and again that kind of passing out, feeling nauseous kind of feeling was happening. And reading about it, that is what happens apparently when your brain is turning over into tinnitus world. And that night, obviously went to bed, ears were ringing, and I think at that point my ears were like ringing for a good couple of days beforehand, and it would fade away when I was doing another previous gig. But on this particular time, you know, 2 days went past, was still ringing, 4 or 5 days went past, it was still ringing. And the volume had decreased quite a bit, but the ringing was still very notably there. 2 weeks went by, still ringing, and 3.5 years later, still ringing. And I have tinnitus. It's just one of those annoying things. Fortunately, it does come with the territory being a musician, but it can be prevented. And I wish I did prevent it, and I'm trying to do things to stop it getting worse. So, like I say, I'm talking to the 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds of Mike Bradley's. I mean, if I could talk back to myself now, I mean, knowing how I was back then, I'd be like, yeah, whatever, mate, I'll just get on with it, I'll be fine, it won't happen to me. But it can happen, and it probably is going to happen. I mean, like I say, it's not that I can't hear it now. A lot of times would be if I'm about to go to bed, or if I'm reading a book and it's really quiet, I will hear the you know, that kind of high-pitched noise going on. It's just one of those things, you know. I mean, I think I've now got used to it so much, I don't hear it unless I kind of start thinking about it. But like I say, I am doing things to prevent it, and I went on eBay. I remember a good couple of years ago, I went on eBay and I found some earplugs off there, I think for a tenner. And I haven't got them with me, annoyingly. Again, I'll try and take a screenshot or something if I can. But they were stringy rope ones, they kind of went around your neck, what I kind of like the idea of. But they stuck out of your ears, they kind of would come out there, say. And for rehearsing, it's fine. But when you're gigging, you know, you don't, personally me, if you've got long hair, it's fine. But, not that my hair's short. But you don't really want sticky out things, doesn't really get the girls, and let's face it, that's why we do it. But yeah, so I wouldn't really wear them for gigs, I would wear them for rehearsals and stuff, but it still wasn't enough. It was still concerning me that I was still doing gigs without any ear protection. So, I went to Boots, and I went in there and I spoke to one of the ear doctors in there and told him what I wasn't doing, and they put like this kind of silicone in your ear. I suppose you can call it silicone. Put it in your ear and it's all soft, and then it will harden up in your ear, and it's kind of strange. You kind of feel it, that kind of sound. It just starts slowly getting harder and harder, and you can't hear for like a couple of minutes after a while. And they put like string in with it, so they pull it out, and they're doing moulds of the inside of your ear. And then I don't know, 4 days, a week or something later, they come back, and they were about, I think they were about £180, I think. But I got them, I think, for about 120, because I like to haggle. But I didn't have to, because he said, have you got a Boots loyalty card? And I was like, I haven't, but my mum has. And he knocked off like 60 or quid or something like that, you know. So yeah, I think it was about 120 or 118, I can't remember. And they come in a nice little leather pouch. And I'm not, this is not an endorsement for Boots, this is just where I got it. And hopefully, no, they're not too dirty, it's alright. They look like this. I'll probably do a little close up again in a minute of these as well. Little kind of, again, rubbery things, and you got a little label with a blue mark for the left ear, and you got a red mark for your right ear. And like I say, these are custom moulded for my ears, and you just put them in and they're in. Put this one in, and that way I've got no sticky out, and all it's doing is just taking the volume, the decibel volume down, you know, so I can still hear everything clearly. At the moment I can hear my own voice, which isn't nice. I can still hear everything clearly, but when you're playing, the volume is just reduced, so it's not so a rash in your ears, you know. But they really are the best investment I've done, you know. It's completely worth £120. If you're gigging a lot and rehearsing a lot with your friends and stuff, it's really worth investing 120, 150 quid, whatever it is, to get them. You know, the sooner you do it, you know, the more protected your ears are going to be. And so now when I'm rehearsing my gigging, I always put them in. Now, hopefully regular viewers of my channel, and hello to you all, my friends, my companions. You would have seen a video called How Loud Can a Marshall Blues Breaker Go? And in that video I've got a hand-wired Marshall combo, my mate's Marshall Blues Breaker, and we cranked up to 10 and I'm rocking out on it, and it sounds fantastic. And like I was saying, you've got to crank it out to get that natural tone. And as a part of that video, I take my plugs out. Yes, incredibly stupid. Alright, there's a few people commented saying you shouldn't encourage people to do that. First of all, I'm not encouraging people to do that. You know, boys being boys, I wanted to hear what it sounded like without plugs on. It was literally for like 2 minutes, and you know, it was a big room, it wasn't a small room, so there was a lot of air to go around. Yes, very silly, but I did it, you know. So people are watching that and hear me kind of preaching about protecting your ears, and you're thinking, oh Mike, I saw you take your plugs out in a 100-watt blues breaker blasting by you. Yeah, but it was a very short amount of time I did it for, and yeah, it was silly, but being a guitar purist, I wanted to hear what it sounded like, just to be on end of. But yeah, for kind of 2-hour gigs I do or whatever, or any kind of sessions, functions, band gigs, whatever, rehearsals, my earplugs are there. I have them in my little bag, what I always take to gigs and stuff, is always there. And if I ever have forgotten them before, sometimes I've been driving the gigs and I haven't needed an amp, I'm just taking a guitar, because an amp's going to be supplied for me. And I think it's happened, I think once, maybe twice, I've like, oh god, my earplugs. I've turned around to get them, because it's just not worth it, you know. At the end of the day, I want to be a musician for life, you know, until, you know, I'm 6 foot under, and if my ears are buggered, I'm screwed. I mean, if you take someone like Paul Gilbert, who's one of the greatest guitar players going around at the moment, his ears are completely destroyed, and you'll see him, you have the big cans on, and I think like one of his ears is completely deaf, or like, you know, he's got 10% of his hearing, and I think he's got like 40-50% in the other ear. You don't want that, you know. I remember getting an ear infection once in my left ear, and I couldn't hear out of that for a couple of days, and it's horrible, really horrible. So yeah, protect your ears, guys. So get down to Boots. It's, you know, if you haven't got the money, save up a little bit to get it. you know, don't go out drinking as much or something like that, you know, it's definitely worth, you know, the 100 odd quid to protect your ears. So it's really, really important. So hope you don't mind that little preach, but it's helpful, I think, you know, and we should protect the old left and right ones, because that's what makes us better players, you know. So anyway, hope you're all well. No playing in this video, but hope you're all well, and I will see you very soon. Take care. Mike Bradley signing out.